Welcome to Silver Wisdom, practical advice for health, life, and well-being after 60. Let's grow wiser together. They told you nuts are good for you, but here is the startling reality that few dare to voice after turning 60. Some of the most common nuts in your kitchen might be gradually harming your erections, increasing your blood pressure, clouding your memory, and quietly damaging your kidneys. Even worse, many older adults consume them daily, believing they are benefiting their health. I am Dr. Michael Carter, and I have devoted over 3 decades to helping mature men and women regain their energy, mental clarity, and yes, their bedroom vitality. I have witnessed repeatedly how the right nutrition can bring life back while the wrong choices silently take it away. Imagine if I said there are 4 particular nuts that enhance circulation, improve brain performance, regulate blood sugar, and even promote better sleep, but hardly anyone over 60 includes them regularly in their diet. Conversely, there are 4 others promoted as healthy, but in reality trigger inflammation, interfere with medications, and risk heart health. You deserve to understand the difference. In this video, I will guide you through all 8 nuts. The 4 you must incorporate daily, and the 4 to avoid completely based on clear scientific evidence designed especially for your body after 60. Near the conclusion, I will reveal 1 nut especially dangerous linked to memory decline and liver problems, which might already be stored in your pantry. Before diving in, make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you never miss another health tip crafted especially for seniors like yourself. If this message resonates, type 1 in the comments. And if not, type 0. Then share how I can improve your health journey. Now let us explore the 4 amazing nuts you should be eating daily. These are far beyond mere snacks. They act as natural remedies for your heart, brain, energy, and yes, even your intimacy. Let us examine each nut and understand why they become increasingly important after 60. First on the list are Brazil nuts, which support your thyroid and help boost testosterone. I vividly recall one patient, a retired firefighter in his late 60s, whom we will call John. He came to me feeling worn out, mentally foggy, and discouraged by his low vitality and weakening performance. Despite trying countless powders, supplements, and diets, nothing seemed to rekindle his previous vigor. We performed extensive lab tests, and the results confirmed what I suspected. John had dramatically low selenium levels, a trace mineral many men over 60 overlook, but one that is crucial for how we think, feel, and operate. Here is the fascinating part. I advised John to take a simple step. Eat 1 Brazil nut daily, exactly 1 nut, no prescriptions or complex routines. After 3 weeks, he came back to my office with noticeable improvements. His face looked different with more color and sharper eyes. He leaned forward with a smile and said, "Doctor, I am not sure what is in that nut, but I feel alive again." That is the magic of Brazil nuts. This incredible nut is the richest natural source of selenium in the world. Just 1 nut delivers more than 130% of your daily selenium needs. Unlike artificial supplements, the selenium in Brazil nuts is attached to organic compounds, which makes it easier for your aging body to absorb and use. Selenium plays a vital role in activating thyroid hormones, which control everything from your metabolism and energy to your mood and memory. As we grow older, the thyroid tends to work less efficiently, causing tiredness, cold extremities, weight gain, and a loss of youthful vitality. Selenium supports the thyroid from within, helping to maintain its function. Additionally, selenium is important for testosterone production, something many men overlook. Low testosterone not only lowers your libido, but also affects your strength, sleep quality, motivation, and mental sharpness. Brazil nuts quietly enhance your body's ability to naturally and safely produce and regulate this essential hormone. What truly sets this nut apart is its ability to protect your nervous system. The healthy fats in Brazil nuts help preserve the myelin sheath, which is the protective layer around your nerves that keeps reflexes quick and movement smooth. Without this layer, your movements slow down. When we grow older, our thinking tends to slow, and we start to feel less connected to our bodies, the very bodies we once knew intimately. Maintaining the health of myelin is crucial during this process, and Brazil nuts play a direct role in supporting it. I always warn my patients that more is not always better because excessive selenium can become toxic over time. That is why I suggest consuming no more than 1 or 2 Brazil nuts daily. Keep them chilled, preferably still inside their shells, and make sure to chew them properly. This simple habit offers a huge payoff. You do not need a bottle full of supplements, just the wisdom of nature coupled with the commitment to follow it just like John did. Imagine if 1 single nut can stimulate your thyroid, boost your testosterone, and protect your nerves. Then adding the second nut daily could multiply these benefits. I call Brazil nuts the quiet protector of your bones and brain, although many older adults are unaware of what they are missing. Let us explore this further. Now let me tell you about almonds, the defenders of our bones and brain. There is something deeply reassuring about almonds. Maybe it is their well-known crunch or the gentle sweetness that remains after every bite. To me, almonds bring memories of my father. Every morning without fail, he would sit by the window with a cup of warm tea and a small bowl of raw almonds. He never skipped a single day. He always said, "These little things are keeping me sharp, son." At the time, I did not truly understand the science behind it. Now, after many years in the fields of medicine and aging research, I realize he was absolutely right. Almonds represent one of the most underrated yet potent allies for the health of older adults. They are far more than just a simple snack. They serve as a daily shield for two crucial areas that become especially vulnerable with age: your bones and your brain. Let us begin with the bones. After the age of 60, particularly past 65, bone density starts to drop swiftly. Falls become more hazardous, fractures take longer to mend, and even a minor stumble can lead to many months of healing. Almonds offer a rich source of calcium, containing almost 100 milligrams in merely a quarter cup. But their true strength lies in the magnesium content. Magnesium functions like a traffic controller, guiding calcium to the bones where it is needed rather than allowing it to accumulate in the arteries. This rare combination of calcium and magnesium in one food makes almonds exceptional. Turning to brain health, I encounter more and more patients each year who worry about memory loss more than heart disease, and understandably so. Conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, and brain fog not only erode thoughts, but also strip away independence. Almonds are packed with potent antioxidants, particularly when consumed with their skin intact. The flavonoids in the thin brown skin work synergistically with vitamin E to counteract the oxidative stress that harms brain cells as we grow older. Research from TUS University indicates that regular almond consumption might even slow down the progression of cognitive impairment. There is even more to almonds. They provide a high amount of fiber, approximately 3.5 grams per serving, which helps fight constipation, a challenge that almost half of elderly people quietly face daily. Regular bowel movements might not sound exciting, but believe me, they greatly influence how you feel, from your energy levels to your mood. Digestion plays a more significant part than most imagine. I often suggest eating 15 to 20 almonds each day, either raw or dry, roasted without salt, and always thoroughly chewed. This is especially important for seniors who have dental problems or difficulty swallowing. Take your time, make it a mindful ritual. I tell my patients you're not just consuming a nut, you are making an investment in your future mobility, mental clarity, and dignity. Almonds act as your silent guardians, and once they become part of your daily routine, your body will respond with firmer steps, sharper thinking, and improved days. But imagine if I told you there is a nut that resembles your brain and might be the finest natural food to help prevent memory decline, boost circulation, and even support restful sleep throughout the night. That is exactly what we will discuss next. Let's dive into the story of 3 walnuts, the brain's favorite nourishment. I will never forget an encounter years ago when I visited a patient named Harold, a retired music teacher in his 70s, who had recently lost his wife. He was struggling not only with sorrow but also with memory issues. He would forget names, misplace his keys, and even get confused while driving home. During our meeting, he opened his kitchen cabinet and took out a small glass jar filled with walnuts. He looked at me and said, I once heard someone say, they are good for the brain and even resemble a brain. This thought stayed with me, not only because it was accurate, but also because Michael Carter, in his quietly steadfast way, was determined to persevere. Science now confirms his belief. Walnuts are extraordinary. They offer far more than a simple snack. Beyond their brain-like shape, walnuts deliver a remarkable nutritional impact. They contain a high amount of alpha-linolenic acid, known as ALA, which is a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid essential for building and maintaining brain cell membranes. As we grow older, these membranes become less flexible, neuron communication slows down, and memory starts to fade. However, ALA plays a crucial role in preserving these neural connections. That is just the start of their benefits. Walnuts are also dense with polyphenols, which are potent antioxidants capable of crossing into the brain to reduce inflammation within neural tissues. Why is this important? Inflammation quietly damages memory, attention, and cognitive abilities. It is a major contributing factor to dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Unlike many other foods, walnuts specifically combat inflammation at its root. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults who consume just 1.5 ounces of walnuts daily for 8 weeks experienced clear enhancements in mental processing speed and flexibility. These outcomes are not simply theoretical. They mean the difference between understanding a loved one's joke or remembering a special birthday. Keeping yourself attentive during a conversation is important. But here is something many people are unaware of. Walnuts naturally contain melatonin, the hormone that our bodies produce to manage sleep. As we age, our melatonin levels decrease, which often results in restless nights and poor recovery. For numerous older patients of mine, simply including a small handful of walnuts in their evening routine helps them fall asleep more quickly and wake up feeling refreshed. I usually suggest consuming 7 to 9 walnut halves daily and storing them in the refrigerator to preserve their fragile oils, which can deteriorate when exposed to heat or light. Also, do not be concerned about the slight bitterness in the skin because that is where many antioxidants are concentrated. Think of it as a little burst of protection in every bite. Michael Carter's patient Harold still eats walnuts daily. And although he deeply misses his wife, Harold shared with me recently that his memory has become crisper, his concentration stronger, and his sense of identity somewhat more stable. Walnuts do not bring instant changes, but over time, they quietly nourish the most valuable thing you have, your mind. If walnuts are considered the food of the brain, then another nut acts as the overlooked champion of blood pressure, vision, and blood sugar at the same time. Many neglect it, but once you learn its benefits, your perspective will change completely. Let us discuss pistachios and their roles in supporting blood pressure, eyesight, and diabetes management. When I was a child, my grandfather kept an old wooden bowl in the kitchen. Every afternoon, Michael Carter would settle into his armchair with a handful of pistachios, carefully opening each one by one. At the time, I never paid much attention to it, thinking it was just a quiet routine of an elderly man. However, with all the knowledge now available about nutrition and aging, I realized he was doing something remarkably smart, without even understanding the science behind it. In fact, he was supporting his blood pressure, protecting his eyesight, and even helping regulate his blood sugar. That simple bowl of pistachios was far more than a mere snack. It was a daily shield of defense. Pistachios undoubtedly rank among the most underrated superfoods for older individuals. They often get overlooked by trendier options, but what they lack in popularity, they surpass in benefits. To begin with, pistachios are among the nuts highest in potassium content, offering roughly 285 milligrams per serving, exceeding many fruits and vegetables. Potassium plays a crucial role in maintaining healthy blood pressure, especially past the age of 60 when arteries often become stiffer and sensitivity to salt tends to grow. For seniors seeking natural ways to keep hypertension under control, pistachios are both a wise and safe choice. In addition, these nuts contain significant amounts of 2 essential carotenoids, lutein and zeaxanthin, which are crucial for eye health. These antioxidants build up in the retina and help block damaging blue light, which can slow down the development of age-related macular degeneration. This is an important benefit considering that vision loss ranks among the greatest concerns for many seniors. Thanks to pistachios, this risk can be managed in a gentle yet effective way that truly protects eyesight over time. Reliable support for keeping your world vivid and vibrant, and perhaps most importantly, pistachios, are surprisingly beneficial for managing blood sugar. With around 3 grams of fiber per ounce and a naturally low glycemic index, they help slow down digestion, reduce spikes in blood sugar after meals, and maintain stable insulin levels. For the millions of older adults coping with diabetes or prediabetes, including a small handful of pistachios every day can quietly make a significant impact, especially when used instead of highly processed sugary snacks. There's also a behavioral advantage worth mentioning when consuming pistachios in their shells. The process of cracking them open slows down your eating speed, allowing your body more time to sense fullness, which makes it easier to avoid overeating. Additionally, the empty shells act as a visual reminder, helping you keep track of your intake without having to count calories or use measuring tools. This transforms snacking into a mindful, calming routine. I usually suggest about 1 ounce daily, which is approximately 49 pistachios. Unsalted or lightly salted options work best, and if you have arthritis or weak hands, choosing the naturally half-open ones can simplify shelling. Pistachios bring a unique blend of nutrient richness, taste, and therapeutic effects. They support your heart, eyes, blood sugar, and overall sense of control over your body. However, while these 4 types of nuts can help improve your health after 60, others might quietly cause harm. Let me explain about certain nuts that appear harmless, or even healthy but actually cause problems. They trigger inflammation, increase blood pressure, interfere with medications, and contribute to brain fog. You deserve to understand exactly what these nuts are. In the next part, I will reveal which nuts to steer clear of and why they might be causing more damage than benefits. Stay tuned because the truth might surprise you. One of these is peanuts, which act like a time bomb for inflammation. I will never forget the day Michael Carter met George, a 72-year-old proud Vietnam veteran who took pride in staying active. However, George recently felt something was wrong. His joints ached more than usual, he was constantly tired, and his blood pressure rose despite no major changes in his lifestyle. During our conversation about his daily habits, one thing caught my attention. He ate peanuts almost every day. "They are healthy, right?" he asked. That moment showed me how much confusion remains about foods we assume are harmless, especially peanuts. The reality is that peanuts are not true nuts, but legumes grown underground, and that fact makes a huge difference. Because of how they grow, peanuts are highly vulnerable to mold, specifically a toxin called aflatoxin. This mold is invisible and tasteless, so you cannot see or smell it. Over time, it can accumulate in the body, damaging the liver, weakening the immune system, and even increasing the risk of certain cancers, especially in seniors. The body's natural detoxification processes tend to slow down as we age, making older adults especially susceptible to these hidden dangers. However, this is not the only issue. Even without an actual allergy, peanuts can cause inflammatory reactions in many individuals. This mild, persistent inflammation impacts the joints, the heart, and even the brain. Unlike sudden symptoms, this inflammation develops gradually and invisibly, leading to arthritis, flare-ups, mental cloudiness, and added stress on the cardiovascular system. For seniors already dealing with stiffness and tiredness, peanuts may unknowingly act as fuel that intensifies these problems. Another concern lies in the salt content. Most commercially processed peanuts are both roasted and salted, sometimes with an excessive amount of sodium. Considering that over 60% of adults over the age of 65 manage high blood pressure, this extra salt only serves to aggravate their condition. On top of that, hydrogenated oils and sugars frequently found in store-bought peanut butters transform what should be a simple snack into a daily source of risk. Even natural peanut butter is not exempt. Peanuts contain a significant amount of omega-6 fatty acids, which can disrupt the delicate balance between omega-3 and omega-6 in the body, a crucial element in regulating inflammation. This imbalance can impair circulation, harm memory, and reduce resilience in aging individuals. Furthermore, for those taking medications such as blood thinners, peanuts contain substances that may hinder the proper absorption of these drugs. Vitamin K complicates medication management even more than it already is for many older adults who are managing multiple prescriptions. I am not suggesting that everyone should panic over having a peanut occasionally. However, if you are over 60 and consume them regularly, it is time to seriously rethink this habit. There are safer and more beneficial substitutes that offer the same enjoyable crunch without the inflammatory and toxic dangers. What if I told you that the next nut on our list not only raises your blood sugar but may also heighten the risk of kidney stones, disrupt digestion, and even cause dangerous choking incidents in elderly individuals? It is one of the most deceptively common snacks around. Let us explore further two cashews, the blood sugar and kidney stone culprits. Some years ago, I treated a patient named Linda. She was 70, full of kindness and joy, and loved baking goodies for her grandchildren. When she visited me with complaints of fatigue, stomach pain, and unexpected blood sugar surges, we examined her habits closely. To my surprise, cashews appeared repeatedly, not just in her snacks, but also in her cooking, smoothies, and even the supposedly healthy granola bars she carried. "They are good for you, right?" she asked with hopeful eyes. That moment stayed with me because it highlighted how well-intentioned decisions might cause harm as we grow older. Cashews are deceptive. They appear as a healthy snack with a creamy texture and mild flavor. The flavor often found in health food stores hides certain risks in cashews that most people, especially older adults, seldom hear about. To begin with, let's discuss blood sugar. Cashews contain a relatively high level of carbohydrates for a nut, around 9 grams per ounce, and they have a significant impact on blood sugar. This means they can cause your glucose levels to rise faster than one might expect. Considering that about 1/4 of seniors have diabetes, and almost half are pre-diabetic, these small spikes accumulate over time. The damage often goes unnoticed until it manifests later as tiredness, mental fog, or worsening glucose readings during your next medical visit. Cashews also contain a substantial amount of oxalates. These naturally occurring substances bind with calcium in your digestive system, making it more difficult for your body to absorb this vital mineral. For older adults who are already more prone to calcium deficiency and osteoporosis, this can become a serious issue. Even more concerning, oxalates can build up in the body and lead to the creation of kidney stones, a painful condition that tends to become more frequent and hazardous with age. Another hazard that many overlook, especially those who experience difficulty swallowing, which is common among elderly people, involves the physical nature of cashews. Their smooth and curved shape makes them surprisingly easy to breathe in accidentally. Among all types of nuts, cashews are one of the most often linked to choking incidents. That creamy texture, which feels so soothing, can also pose a hidden danger. They can become an unnoticed danger, and another concern is how they are processed. Most people do not realize that cashews in their raw form are poisonous because they contain urushiol, the same substance found in poison ivy. To make them safe, cashews must undergo intense processing such as steaming, cooking, and peeling. Unfortunately, this procedure strips away much of their natural nutrients. What remains is a nut that tastes appealing but offers little health benefit, and in some instances, may even be harmful. For this reason, I advise seniors to replace cashews with safer, more beneficial options like almonds or walnuts. Let me tell you about the silent weight gainer, macadamia nuts. I once treated a patient called Carl, a retired engineer in his late 60s with a sharp mind, great humor, and strict habits. Over several months, Carl started gaining weight slowly and subtly. His blood pressure was rising, and he often felt lethargic after meals. When we reviewed his eating habits, he laughed and said, "Well, doctor, I do not eat much junk food, but I do enjoy a few macadamia nuts every evening, as they are supposed to be good for the heart, right?" That was the moment I realized we needed to talk. Macadamia nuts are considered a luxury. Their rich, buttery flavor and creamy texture make them feel like a decadent yet healthy snack. They are frequently promoted this way, especially among upscale health enthusiasts. However, many do not understand, particularly as we age, that each bite of macadamias contains an extremely high amount of fat and calories. Just 1 ounce, which is barely a handful, holds almost 200 calories and 22 grams of fat. For someone over 60, whose metabolism has naturally slowed down and who might already be less physically active, this adds up quickly. You are consuming the calorie equivalent of a small meal without even feeling full. This is what I call silent weight gain. It creeps up gradually without any binge eating or sweets, just a steady increase that becomes difficult to reverse over time. But the concern is not only about weight. Macadamia nuts are among the highest in saturated fat compared to other nuts, containing around 3 grams per ounce. This type of fat can increase LDL cholesterol and put additional stress on an aging heart. For seniors who are already dealing with cholesterol or blood pressure complications, this fat is not just unhelpful, but can quietly undermine their progress. Moreover, many older adults develop gallstones without realizing it, sometimes feeling only slight bloating or mild discomfort after meals. Due to their very high fat content, macadamia nuts can cause these stones to move, leading to painful episodes that may require emergency care or even surgery. I have witnessed this more than once, where the individual was unaware the problem was developing. Additionally, oral health is another concern. Macadamia nuts are dense and hard, which can be risky for seniors who have bridges, crowns, or sensitive teeth. I've treated patients who cracked their dental work trying to chew these nuts, resulting in costly and painful visits to the dentist. I often tell my patients that macadamia nuts might seem like a minor treat, but they come with a significant cost. This cost creeps up quietly and then lingers for a long time. While there are other nuts that provide enjoyment without this heavy toll, macadamias tend to bring unwanted consequences. However, the next nut I want to discuss is far more alarming. It is small, oily, and commonly overlooked, yet it can interfere with medications, cause unusual taste changes, and even lead to hazardous weight loss in elderly individuals. Most people are unaware of how troublesome it can be. Let's explore this further. 4 pine nuts, the medication disruptor. Several years ago, I had a patient named Ruth. She was 74, careful and attentive to her well-being. Ruth kept a close eye on her medications, took daily walks, and loved trying out new cooking ideas. One day she came to my office with a peculiar complaint. She said, "Doctor, Carter, everything tastes metallic. Even water feels strange. This has been happening for weeks." At first, we examined her medications, digestion, and hydration, but nothing seemed unusual. Then she mentioned something new she had added to her diet, a homemade pesto packed with pine nuts. Suddenly, everything made sense. Despite their tiny size, pine nuts can cause surprisingly serious issues in older adults. Let's begin with Ruth's experience. She was suffering from what is called pine mouth, a bitter metallic taste alteration that may persist for days or even weeks after eating particular types of pine nuts. Although this condition is not dangerous in itself, it can be distressing and affect appetite significantly. Here is the hidden problem when food and water suddenly lose their pleasant taste. Many elderly people unknowingly reduce their eating and drinking, and for those already vulnerable to unintentional weight loss or dehydration, this seemingly small side effect can result in severe outcomes such as frailty and nutrient deficiencies. Hospital stays can follow, which is why taste plays a much more crucial role than most realize, especially for older individuals. However, pine nuts present even more challenges. One major concern with this particular nut is its ability to interfere with common medications. Pine nuts contain certain compounds that affect how drugs are processed in the liver, including medicines for blood pressure, cholesterol, and mood regulation. These are 3 of the most frequently prescribed types of drugs for seniors. This interaction may lead to diminished drug effectiveness or unexpected adverse effects. Unfortunately, most older adults never receive warnings about this issue because it remains poorly comprehended by many healthcare providers. Another problem involves inflammation. Pine nuts are rich in polyunsaturated fats, which are fragile and susceptible to oxidation, especially when stored improperly or kept on shelves for too long. Once oxidized, these fats can actually trigger inflammation rather than soothe it. For those dealing with arthritis, joint pain, or inflammatory conditions like metabolic syndrome, this only worsens the problem. Because pine nuts are often mixed into sauces or baked into food, many people do not even realize they are consuming them. One issue I've noticed repeatedly among my older patients is the risk of aspiration. Pine nuts are tiny, slippery, and can be easily inhaled accidentally, especially by individuals taking medications that cause dry mouth, which happens very often after turning 60. When you add to this the natural changes in swallowing reflexes that come with aging, it creates a hidden danger of choking. For all these reasons, I strongly advise seniors to stay away from pine nuts completely. There are many other options that provide taste and healthy fats without these dangers. Food should serve to nourish and safeguard, not complicate or put your health at risk. Now that you have understood which nuts are safe and which ones should be avoided, what does this mean for your everyday life? Your energy levels, your memory, your heart health, and even your intimacy can be affected. In my final message, I will help you make the connection and explain how these small food choices can lead to significant improvements. At this stage in your life, it is never too late to change the course of your health story, one bite at a time. Remember what I always say: you are never too old to change what truly matters. Reflecting on my years of experience meeting men and women in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, I've realized something important. Aging itself does not break us down. Rather, it is the tiny habits repeated daily that either strengthen us or gradually wear us away. Food, especially something as small and seemingly harmless as a handful of nuts, often plays a key role in that ongoing story. Today we focused on 8 types of nuts, 4 of which I genuinely believe every senior should consume daily: Brazil nuts, almonds, walnuts, and pistachios. This recommendation is not based on popularity or trendy health fads, but on their proven benefits. These nuts support your thyroid function and testosterone levels, strengthen your bones and brain, enhance your sleep, protect your heart, and help you regain control over your health. Then we discussed 4 other nuts: peanuts, cashews, macadamia nuts, and pine nuts that tend to have the opposite effect. They can cause inflammation, interfere with medications, spike blood sugar, and contribute to unhealthy weight changes. Most people think they are healthy, or at least harmless, but after the age of 60, the body changes. What once energized you might now leave you feeling sluggish. Foods that were once passed through easily can now be triggering problems that you may not even realize are tied to your diet. I want to be clear here not as a doctor, but as someone who has seen people I care deeply about struggle quietly. You're not broken, you're not too old, and your health is not hopeless. The body you wake up in today is still responsive, still adapting, and can react powerfully to the small, consistent decisions you make. I have witnessed this in the man who switched from peanuts to pistachios and was able to reduce his blood pressure without adding any new medications, and the woman who ate a single Brazil nut every day and finally noticed a positive change in her well-being. Energy returned to the couple who began snacking on walnuts in the evening and soon discovered they were both sleeping through the entire night for the first time in many months. These results are not miracles but biology at work. This is your body functioning as it is designed when provided with the proper nourishment. So, the next time you step into your kitchen tomorrow morning or walk past the snack aisle later this week, take a moment to reflect on what you have learned here and make a thoughtful choice. There is no need for perfection or to change everything all at once. Simply select one thing and continue choosing it consistently. That is how transformation starts, because this journey is not just about cholesterol levels or blood pressure readings. It is about waking up feeling balanced and steady on your feet, remembering the name of the neighbor who stopped by, having enough energy to walk, laugh, or hold hands just a little longer. It is about staying engaged in life not only physically but also emotionally, mentally, and intimately. I am Dr. Michael Carter, and I want you to hold on to this idea. You are never too old to regain your strength, nor are you too far gone to recover your energy, clarity, and confidence. You only need to provide your body with the right things, and it will respond generously. Begin with nuts, and let that be the first sign to your body and yourself that you are ready to thrive once more.